So when we want to get practical in actually making disciples and making time for disciples, it's actually wise to follow the model that Jesus gave to us and what we see in the Gospels. See, Jesus spent time with groups of people. One time he fed miraculously 5,000 men, and that wasn't counting the women and children. Another time he spent time with 70 disciples in which he sent out. But the primary use of his time was towards 12, and then even then, 3 men. He actually gave the most significant amount of his time to that hand-picked group of disciples. As his influence was increasing and he was ministering to more and more crowds and people were seeking him out, he actually made it harder for people to follow him. He started using parables and he started using hard sayings that either confused people or made people grow offended towards what was happening because they weren't ready to fully see who he was and actually give their full yes to him. And in so doing, he was actually starting to filter out who was actually following him. And if Jesus did that, we have to do that too. And there's really 2 reasons, is that we are, 1, looking for obedient disciples. We're looking for people who are going to give themselves to the work of the Great Commission. And secondly, we have limitations. I don't have time to pour into 5,000 people. The Lord Jesus himself actually only personally discipled 12. And I don't think I personally am better than he is at discipling people. So for me to disciple 13, 14, 15 is just not an appropriate expectation for my life. And so I actually need to prioritize my time, my life, in order to pour into people whom I see God resting on and provide them opportunities for them to grow into who God has called them to be. What's beautiful about this is that in light of our own limitations actually exists the strategy of heaven. Because when I pour into 3 people and they in turn each pour into 3 more people, we can actually reach the planet. It actually becomes this exponential growth because what's been entrusted to me is actually being entrusted to others and then others. My limitations don't hinder God. They actually help protect me. They protect my soul, and it models healthy discipleship for the people I'm leading. That is the divine strategy of heaven. It is the multiplication of the ministry of Jesus through every believer. So my limitations are actually for the divine strategy to reach the planet. This is what we have to see, is that when we're discipling people, we're not just giving them the gospel. We're not just giving them even ministry opportunity. We're actually giving them our very lives. And in 1 Thessalonians chapter 2, verse 8, it just says this: having so fond of an affection for you, we were well pleased to impart to you not only the gospel of God, but also our own lives, because you had become very dear to us. Ultimately, discipleship is about giving your life towards another and letting your life help raise up and build someone so that they can follow Jesus and actually for Jesus to get the reward of his suffering through that.